Hey, Cinema Night Podcast. Here we are, episode 185. Travis, Eric, Michael, and we're, grateful to be here. It is technically when we're recording, it's Oscars Sunday, so I know people are getting stoked for the Oscars 2024. I'm sure we'll chat about that here. Don't forget, we're going to talk about A Late Quartet. That's our main focus today. It'll be our Does It Hold Up segment. A Late Quartet, Travis's selection for this week. It's been a trying times, Eric, but we're here. We made it, and the Oscars are tonight. I know you're excited.
It's all fun and games until you go downstairs to watch a movie and your couch is floating around in your basement. I spent the entire day mopping and soaking up all this water. It's a fucking nightmare. But I did get around to watching some movies after the disaster was cleaned up.
You still pulled it off.
Good.
Yeah.
Travis, I know I can't believe the Oscars are tonight for some reason. Is this right? Is it mid-March, late March usually, or am I just being a moron?
Usually it's earlier than this. Usually it's late February, but here it is. It's happening, and it's an hour earlier. It usually starts at 8, started at 7, which I'm grateful for.
That's what it is. That's what it is. You told me it was an hour earlier. We were trying to set up the 93, 94, which will happen. It's going to happen. But
I thought it already happened.
It was going to happen today, and then we found out that the Oscars got moved up an hour, and today is daylight savings time, so we lost an hour. So I'm actually kind of glad because I'm already feeling like, what? It's 1:30 already? Shit, I don't like that feeling on that first day for sure. So
yeah,
but any Oscar one highlight, guys? Anything you're excited about for the Oscars in particular?
I watch them every year. I know that they're absurd, and I don't care anymore. I take them with a grain of salt. So there's no specific thing I'm looking forward to. It's just the whole event,
I'd like to see Bob Downey Jr. finally get handed the trophy that he's been working real hard for these past 35 years or so.
Seems like a done deal.
Oppenheimer during the quarantine viewing picks, but yeah, I'd like to see that that happen tonight. Other than that, in the memoriam, always a good time.
Oh yeah,
see
barrel laughs.
See a surprise death pop up.
Hey, no shit, that guy died.
Oh, that person's dead.
But
yeah, I'm sad.
Who's the host? Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah.
Bring Hugh Jackman back. He was my all-time favorite host. It was such a fun Oscar show when he was on.
Yeah, he was good, but. I think Kimmel does fine. He does fine.
Yeah, he's adequate. He's
serviceable.
You can email the show. Tell us what you thought of the Oscars by the time you see this or hear it. cinemanightpod@gmail.com. We got one email today. It's from our old pal Dave Horning, friend of the show, which is from 12 days ago. He gave me shit on a text last week. I said, hey, man, we do what we can. You're right. You're right to criticize, but we do the best we can to get a show out when we can. Hello, friends. I think Mike may have boiled down my suggestion to a slightly too condensed version. I had suggested maybe burying the next week's film deep in the episode description so as to let those wishing to avoid spoilers in that department do that. It is a minor inconvenience anyway, but it does take extra time to scrub to the point in the episode where the next subject is announced after my full brain has dumped that info for something else. Maybe put a spoiler warning? Who the hell reads the entire episode description anyway?
Maybe just listen to our whole episode.
Scrub through the episode to find out what's next.
That's a good question. Do you guys? I listen to podcasts, and I don't think I always read a full description of the episodes I listen to.
Never.
A lot of them I just hit play.
I never read them
one in my entire life. This is soundbite culture, and Dave's at the top of the mountain on this. I'd appreciate it if you just enjoy it and let it wash over you, and at the end it'll come when it's ready. When it's the right time, you'll find out what's happening in a week or 2 weeks or 2 months.
Yeah, whenever we get around to it.
Dave demands. Dave also says, y'all brought up rewatching movies like back in the day. Yes, having physical copies as well as lack of access to the entire world of film, except for that is The Abyss and Cocoon for some reason, contributes heavily to the practice. Yet, there are still a few that have grabbed me over the last several years and pulled me into multiple viewings. Weird. They're all sci-fi. I know, super out of character for me. The films are Blade Runner 2049, Dune, and Live, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow, or whatever the hell they're deciding to call it today. For some reason, they all grab me and enjoyed them as much as the first viewing. Glad you're all back regularly again, Dave. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Good to hear from you.
Dave, It is good to hear from Dave. He actually has a ticket. He sent me a text last week for March 12th, so that'll be 2 days from now. He's going to see Dune Part 2. I think he's doing a solo viewing, a family man with a rare solo film viewing in theater. Enjoy,
Dave. Well, weird. Anyhow.
Okay. How about some quarantine viewing picks then? Travis Roy, what have you been watching? What would you like to recommend?
Okay, well, I've watched a fair amount of stuff. I did like my dutiful trying to catch up with the Oscars stuff that's nominated. Before I get into that, I'll just kind of talk about it. I had Christian over, our buddy Christian over the night before last, and we did a triple feature. We did Spaceballs from 1987, then we kept it in 1987 and took it down a notch to Over the Top, which he'd never seen before and I hadn't seen since I was a kid. And he said, well, that was a shitty movie. And I said, well, it's not the shittiest movie. So we watched the shittiest movie, which is A Talking Cat from 2013, which I've talked about on the show before. And he seems to be somewhat traumatized by it. He's like sending me texts like, I can't get it out of my head. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. It's not even so bad that it's good. It's just bad. But yeah, we had many beers and laughed at Over the Top. I'm sorry if you guys take this movie seriously. It's fucking hilarious. I don't know if you guys think it's like a real movie, but it's not. Sorry.
Well, I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't know anymore, but I enjoyed it as a child, and there's no doubt about it.
Lots of grunting. I called it Sweat the Movie.
Sweat the movie.
It's a movie about arm wrestling. It's so dumb. The premise.
Father, son,
exactly.
What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, that kid. I think that kid would annoy me now. I have a feeling that kid would probably piss me off now.
Mike.
Yep. One arm blazer Mike. Yep. Not good. I checked out Rory Scovel's new stand-up comedy, Religion, Sex, and a Few Things in Between. Mike, I think you'd really like this. Just brutal takes on Christianity and frank takes on sex, which I feel like those are things that you're comfortable with and like.
Is there any death talk though?
Not a lot of death talk. I'm sorry. Maybe the next special from old Rory Scovel.
I don't even know who that. I'll look into it. That name doesn't. I'm clueless. So
He's
I'll
funny.
check it out. Rory Scovel. Yeah. Oh, I believe
Rory
you. I just
Scovel.
never.
It's on Max.
I don't know things. Okay.
What else did I watch? Then I started. Yeah, I checked out Spaceman, the new Adam Sandler picture on Netflix. It was locked in post-production for many years, and I can tell you this is a movie that really just shouldn't have been on Netflix because people are going to have access to it that probably shouldn't. This should have been like an A24 feature or a Neon feature or something like that. This is extremely dreamlike and weird. I really enjoyed it. It's just like out there kind of sci-fi. But I think that the casual viewer is going to be like, this is boring. What's happening? I don't like this. There's ambiguity. So I feel like it's maybe not for everyone, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It kind of like
arm wrestling.
No, unfortunately, there is some sweat though. Mostly it's kind of like Solaris in that kind of like not creepy, but like dreamlike kind of space movie. I thought it was great though. I checked out.
I just want to say for the record though, right?
Yeah.
Whenever an Adam Sandler movie comes out, we have to distinct between it being a total bozo who cares effort versus his real efforts, and this is a real effort, right?
Yes,
like,
this is 100% like, yeah, I'm doing a real drama kind of movie.
Which is also I don't know if it divides Sandler fans or not. I really don't care about that, but I'm just keeping track. So we had this one. We had Hustle a couple years ago, which it's a drama sort of, right? It's not like
it's a serious effort from him.
Of course, our favorite,
Uncut Gems, which we all hate.
Meyerowitz, terrible film.
Yeah, so he's got a Punch Drunk Love. This is in his rare drama. One of his rare dramas. So definitely, if you're a fan of him in that respect, check it out. But be patient. It's not a action flick. I checked out Nimona, Oscar-nominated animated film Nimona, which was supposed to be a Disney picture, but it's got like a gay relationship in it, so it got bumped. And I'm glad that whoever picked it up did because it's really unique. It's like medieval steampunk, which is weird. And it was really well done. I mean, I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the animation. It was kind of some sort of unique sci-fi stuff. I thought it was pretty good. And what else did I watch? And then lastly, yesterday, I did my Oscar duty and checked out more Oscar films with Poor Things. This is done by, what's his name? The director of Lobster and, Greek dude.
Yorgos something or other.
Yeah, Yorgos something or other. Yeah, and Killing of a Sacred Deer, that guy.
Ooh, I like that one.
How was it?
He's nominated for Best Director, and I hope he doesn't get it, but I do hope it gets Best Production Design. I hope it gets Best Costume Design. I think that there's some really great acting in here, so I wouldn't mind seeing anyone win for it. Maybe not Mark Ruffalo, although he is really good in it. There's a stiffer competition against him this year. But dude, I have not seen so much fucking in a movie since. I mean, it's more than even Lost Highway. Just a lot of fucking. Be prepared, but it's also really funny.
Oh, it's funny?
Yeah, it's really funny, and it's weird. I used to teach this school or this class at Temple University called Intellectual Heritage. It was like Western Civ, but not only Western. So we like tackle like famous works and stuff. And I taught Frankenstein, which is getting obvious comparisons to this movie. And I also taught Candide. And I wish I was still teaching that class because I would show this movie because it's really like the wedding of the books Frankenstein and Candide in a lot of ways. It was great. I think it's going to be a well-remembered picture. Eric, I feel like you might really like it.
I heard it just hit Hulu. So
yeah, that's
really cost.
I have to admit, I've held back.
How would you handle all the fucking with your class? Would you just like hit fast forward?
Oh, that's a good point. Well, I mean, in college, I would have been showing it in college. So, but yeah, even still, you're right.
Fine,
probably too much fucking for college. I would have maybe recommended it to my students to watch at home. It's a good point.
Emma Stone is in that movie. I heard she's getting the buzz for Best Actress. So
wouldn't mind seeing it. She's really, really good in it. And so I definitely recommend that one. And then American Fiction, I watched that as well.
Oh, you saw it?
Damn.
I gotta say, every year there's a movie where people are like, everyone should see this movie, and I think everyone should see American Fiction.
I know that. No, but I know that. But I haven't. I know that. I've known that for about 6 weeks for some reason. Ever since I heard a little conversation with the screenwriter in an interview for a while, I'm like, oh yeah, this is. Yeah. I gotta see this. But
writer-director Cord Jefferson, I think his name is, which he's done a bunch of. This is his first film, as far as I know, but he's been like writing for good stuff. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know The Good Place was one of them, but a few other good shows. Yep. But this is really funny. I mean, really satirical, really smart. Sometimes a little tropey, a little predictable, and it still follows a formula. But also, there's some big surprises in there, and some things I think are kind of unconventional for film. Definitely recommend it. I would say it's the best movie I watched of this chunk. That would be my main recommendation. American Fiction.
We got Jeffrey Wright for Best Actor.
Jeffrey Wright finally starring in a role. I don't remember him starring in anything in a leading role before, but man, he carries the film wonderfully. And again, like it's a dramedy. There is some hilarious moments and some deep, dark moments, and he walks that line so well. It's really, really good.
Damn it.
Uncomfortable, but good.
George Clooney was supporting actor on Syriana, but Jeffrey Wright was a key part of that movie. Yeah.
He's had his moments, but he's like, no question, he is the lead of this film, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay. Cord Jefferson also wrote for that Watchmen miniseries that died, and Master of None, also a good. I liked Master of None. I don't know what happened to that show. But,
well, Aziz Ansari tanked his career.
Yeah. Okay, that's the whole thing. You're right. Yeah, but you're okay. Yes. All right. So Eric, you're next.
Yeah, the Iron Claw. I've been waiting for a long time to see this this take on the legendary Von Erich brothers, the wrestling's legends.
Did you laugh?
The film, Sean Durkin. I was wondering where this guy was, dude, because I loved Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. Incredible cult film about a cult, and I've been waiting for more from this guy, and he finally comes out with this. It's okay. I was kind of pissed. I was disappointed. Because
did you laugh?
It's no, it's definitely not a comedy.
Zac Efron? He's not tall at all, dude. It's so stupid.
He's good. He's fantastic in the film.
He's fantastic? Oh, wow.
He's fantastic. He's superb. But the movie is, I just wish they would have taken it in you know exactly what it's going to be 5 minutes in, so you're just kind of waiting for it to happen, and you're not really enjoying yourself that much. So yeah, I don't know. I was a little let down. The Aviator, but I'll caution you. I ain't talking Scorsese. I'm talking George Miller, 1985. After The Road Warrior, he makes The Aviator, starting the legendary Christopher Reeve. I saw his face, and every time I see his face, I hit play immediately. It's like this cute drama. Like he stars as this pilot, this aviator back in the 20s, and he's got to cart around Rosanna Arquette, who's like this feisty sidekick brat that he's got to cart around. It's very reminiscent of the screwball comedies of the 30s with some tender hearts, PG family movie. Sweet. It's a sweet film on Tubi.
Shit on 5.5 on IMDb.
Not by me. Not by me. It's a sweet movie.
Not by you.
Okay, let's get down to the business here. A lot of movie magic. I've been watching the show Movie Magic on YouTube. Remember this Discovery Channel from 93 to 97, this show Movie Magic. I used to watch this every day because this was before DVD, and like you didn't have any access to like any special features unless you bought like a making of VHS. So every week you'd have like how they do matte paintings, how they do digital composites, how they do miniatures. This show's fucking hilarious because all these fantastic films in the 90s which relied on these age-old techniques, and you just don't see like a lot of this stuff being employed anymore. So it's kind of sad and nostalgic. I was getting pissed every time like they show something incredible that was tactile and real. I was like, that'd just be a stupid fucking cartoon nowadays. I was screaming at the screen while floating around in my basement. But it's a cool show, man. Especially if you're into like 90s special effects. Oppenheimer. I finally watched it last night.
Oh boy!
Actually, I had to watch it twice because when you live with someone and they fall asleep 20 minutes into a 3-hour movie, you have to watch it in its entirety the next night. And I'm glad I did because I was able to.
You need to
form a solid opinion on it after 6 hours of content. It's a good movie. I mean, it's a good movie. It's a great achievement. I didn't love it. I mean, I was laughing. I'm like, they literally set up black and white IMAX cameras, which are super loud, to record like some cabinet proceeding. It's like, why does this need to be an IMAX? Like 90% of the film is just like hearings and stuff and like simple drama. And like I can picture people in a giant IMAX theater, they're popping popcorn, like looking at each other like, okay, I guess this is a blockbuster or something. But dude, a solid movie. Loved Robert Downey Jr. Loved Cillian Murphy. Matt Damon. What was this performance? Did you guys notice this?
I thought it was great.
Oh, man.
I thought it was just
out of place. I don't know.
I thought there was something. I know kind of what you're saying, Eric, but I also was fine with it, I guess. I know. Yeah, I don't know what I know, but I know
I
something.
put my finger on it. It's kind of like, I don't know. He's just kind of like saying the lines and like being goofy. He's kind of felt out of play. Love Josh Hartnett.
I think we know him.
Surprise.
Sorry, I think we know Matt Damon too well as a actor and as a person to buy him in that kind of role. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Like
when he plays
like
a real person,
like be in a fight or like is gruff enough. Like
maybe
Christian Bale or somebody a little gruffer.
Yeah, he's not a Patton kind of guy. He's like a pat you on the back kind of guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this movie, but it did leave me. But even after 3 hours, I was wanting more. Like it's funny because Nolan, like, he's a master because he put like a spell on me. Like I couldn't take my eyes off the screen for 3 straight hours. I'm pausing it for my bathroom breaks. Every second of the screen, my eyes are locked in, and yet after it's over, I'm like, why was I so locked in? Like, it's people talking like proceedings for like 3 hours. But I don't know, man. He's a hypnotic.
What about Travis's opinion, though? The best Nolan ever. What do you think of that?
I think this is his most fully realized, polished achievement. That and Dunkirk, I think, stand side by side as his towering achievements. But I don't know, man. I left not knowing as much as I wanted to know about Oppenheimer. Maybe that was the point, but for 3 hours, I just really didn't get to know the man as well as I wanted to.
Huh. Well, read the book if you were curious to learn more. But
okay.
I thought that the movie did a pretty admirable job in trying to pack a lot about him into one film myself.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though, Eric. I was like, wait, why? We don't understand how he feels or why he felt about, some of the communist stuff that they went back and talked about, and then how it kind of disappeared, and we're just moving forward now. There's so much to unpack in there, and I didn't read the book, obviously, but I do know what you're saying there. I was left feeling the same way, not just the whirlwind of all of these characters, which that's why you have to watch a movie twice, because there's so many introductions of so many different people that are playing a role in this thing that it requires multiple viewings.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've seen it twice, and I'm still kind of unsure, like, why he was so integral to the bomb. It just kind of seems like he was hired to, like, do the job and be on the team. Like, they didn't really sell me, like what he actually, like, did. They just showed him as being interested in science and stuff.
He's the organizer. He's the one who could bring everyone together.
Exactly.
Right?
I guess I was under the impression that like he had cracked the code to the secret of atomic energy. But he was just like, all right, I'll do the job. And like he does it. And it's over.
Yeah, I mean, it was like who will do this? What American will do this? Because there's only so many people that could. But these ideas were in the ether. Their time had come. So someone was. I mean, the only reason we did it was because Germany was working on it as well.
Yeah, good film though. I can see Best Picture winning.
He could talk to scientists in their terms, and then like he could go in different areas. I think that's one of the things that he was able to do is he could talk the most like concrete details of the scientific shit, and then go over to the other areas, recruiting and et cetera, and our military. He maybe is a little less comfortable in the military.
I dug
area,
all that, but like the whole, we're gonna do the whole deposition again. Like I'm getting sort of sick of these McCarthyism movies. Like it's just I don't know.
But he was a victim of the McCarthy era. Like he's one of the premier victims of the McCarthy era. So you can't do the movie without doing that. It just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah,
that's true. And I think McCarthy stuff is more interesting now because of, we're getting a little bit farther from the cancel culture period, maybe, and maybe things got a little too extreme now. We lived through it. So I actually feel like, I don't know if they're not the exact same thing, but they kind of are in some ways. And that's a whole conversation we could have about. But I do find the McCarthy era versus where we are over the last 8 years fascinating, though. So
okay, cool. That's about it for me.
Yeah, I don't think I was, Leanne was here the previous week, and like every night the TV was off when we went to bed, which is unheard of for when I'm alone. But the TV was off. We did watch a movie. Did we watch a movie? We watched that one movie. I made her watch Love and Mercy. She'd never seen it before.
Okay.
And she got very emotional about it because it was intense. It is. That movie's fucking intense. It's, I forgot that. I only watched it really like that. I remember being wowed by it the one time I watched it, right?
Loved it.
And then I didn't really watch it again. And now it's been about 8 years for me. And I was like, whoa, this movie's good. And I was harsh on John Cusack as my memory waned on that. And I wanted to give him some more credit. He did a fine job in that role. He really didn't he tried to stay as true to like the Brian Wilson inhibited guy that he became after the fact. And I don't care that him and Paul Dano don't look alike at all. It's fine. I've gotten over that. I don't know why that bothered me, but it did. Yeah. And then, and I also hate Mike Love. That guy's a douchebag. He'll always be a douchebag to me, but that's a Beach Boys thing. So, yeah, check that out. Love and Mercy still is a great film, excellent content. And I think that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I was trying to, I wanted to watch Barbie with Leanne, and then it's only available on the Max TV upstairs. We don't have Max downstairs, which I had to watch A Late Quartet downstairs because that's only where Amazon Prime is, which makes no sense. I know on surface that I'm not connected to all these. But when you realize I don't own all the accounts at all, or I don't own either of those two accounts, I'm just along for the ride. I don't know how to reconnect it beyond that. So.
Okay.
That's my life. Why? And then I watched one other movie from 2019 called The Late Show, or Late Show, with Mindy Kaling
and
written film.
Emma Thompson. Yeah, I saw that.
Emma Thompson is basically the Conan O'Brien of like a big time late night show, and she's fallen out of touch. And she's got to get in touch with the modern times, Eric. That's right. She needs Mindy Kaling to show her how to get connected to the current audience. And,
it's like a less good Hacks in movie form instead of TV. Right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we
fine.
watched it. Did you like that movie?
He's not talking to you, audience.
I'm not getting. Yeah, not getting anything from her. I think she has her headphones on. Anyway, she seemed to enjoy it. It was a little saccharine, I would say, but it's worth watching. Emma Thompson, she got really cool hair in that movie. I will say that. So, and if that's enough for me, sometimes I'll watch a movie because someone has cool hair. There you go. All right. CinemaNightPod, gmail.com. 5-star reviews. Subscribe to our YouTube. We've had a nice little bump with the YouTube subs. Believe it or not, it still happens. I think I'm up to date. All of our video versions are available on the Cinema 9 YouTube if you want to stare at our ugly mugs. All right. A Late Quartet. Travis's selection, starring the one and only. Well, really, are all four starring equally? All right. No one has top billing over one another?
I think they put it in alphabetical order. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, so no, I think it's billed when the names come up. It says Hoffman, Walken, Ivaner, Keenan. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well, they're a quartet, anyways. The movie's called Late Quartet, and Travis, you selected this film, so
I did.
Do you have an early recollection of seeing this 2012 film?
I mean, I saw it when it came out, or within a year or so of that. I believe I saw it shortly before he died, or shortly after Philip Seymour Hoffman died. And then I haven't seen it since. And like I said on the last show, it was one that supposedly he was particularly proud of. So when his 10-year anniversary of his death came around recently, I thought this would be a good one for the show to unpack and maybe encourage more people to put eyes on. I know neither one of you had seen it before. And I'd only seen it the one time, so I wanted to see if it held up for me.
I had seen it before. I've seen it once.
Okay.
But it was like, it was just, well, I guess I'm jumping in front of Eric here. Sorry. Yeah, I saw it once, and it was on Netflix, I believe, long time ago. But it wasn't, I do admit it wasn't memorable. It's somewhere in a drug haze of 2014-esque period there. So.
I missed it. I mean, this is 2012 when, like, I remember, like, Phil Hoffman was in not that this is solely his picture, but, like, he was just in everything. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of good for now on Phil Hoffman, not knowing the tragedy that was to come. We had, like, For Devil Knows You're Dead, Ides of March, The Master. So I was like, it kind of just, like, slipped through the cracks for me.
That one movie where he's like, he works for, like, Interpol, that movie? You seen that one?
The Most Wanted Man. That was, I think, 2014.
Smattering was there, and I'm like, I get you eventually.
Good one.
So I missed it.
It is a good one, actually,
Yeah.
Okay, well, the good old IMDb rating, gentlemen. Is this an all-time classic, a middle of the road, just another ho-hum movie?
I feel like there's not a lot of ratings for it. If I had to guess, it'd be in the tens of thousands, not in the hundreds of thousands.
I would agree.
And I'm going to say 7.2.
Oh. Yeah, 6.6.
I was going to go, okay, I was going to go 6.8. Actual retail price, 7.1. I
almost said that, too.
I almost said that. 7.2 is not a bad guess at all. And then, of course, we always look at the critical reviews. And on Rotten Tomatoes, this seems to me like a movie that would be well rated for some reason by critics, or that they would like it. I'm not really sure why I feel that, but I don't know. Maybe it's kind of hoity-toity stuff in terms of like classical music, which gets that rap. It's a 77%, though, from the critics, which is not elite, but it's solid. And the audience score, identical to IMDb. We don't always see that, 71%. So.
Okay.
So there seems to be universal agreement among us laymen's. I mean, we're not professional critics. We're just people, right? Us three?
We are not professional, no.
Are we highbrow intellectuals?
No, you're not.
Honey, are we highbrow?
Just checking.
Okay. So Stanley Kaufman from the New Republic once upon a time said, we can note immediately that Zilberman has the requisite gifts. Zilberman, sorry.
Who is this guy?
He had done like some documentaries, I think, before this, or a documentary. He's done very little since, some TV, I think, since. But clearly someone who could manage a pretty capable cast. And someone who's good. I think he has a good eye, and he's clearly good with actors. I'm surprised he hasn't done more since.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's Israeli. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you looked into this. Does anyone know? But you get the feeling that he has an understanding of this world. Or is that just more the script?
I would guess. I didn't look into it.
Okay, yeah, I didn't find it either. It just seemed like he had a handle on it. I was impressed
Baumbach
with that.
vibes on this society culture.
Oh,
New York.
Margot at the wedding.
Baumbachian. This is Baumbachian for sure.
This even crossed my mind.
Yeah, I didn't think that either, but it's making me laugh because I think of Margot at the wedding and how pissed everyone's going to get. All right, Robbie Collin from the Daily Telegraph in the UK. It isn't great art, but...
How do you feel?
Yeah, but, okay, he comes in harsh, but it is patterned after great art. Oh, and there are worse ways to make a film than that.
He's really talking out of the left side of his mouth, isn't he?
They pay this guy?
Yeah, say something, dude. What the hell?
It's not great. Some movies are much better.
It's based on great things, but yeah. Tom Huddleston, not to be confused with
Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston.
Or Dave Huddleston, The Big Lebowski.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, Tom Huddleston at Time Out said, the result is a perfectly serviceable, well-acted melodrama, but why so serious? Remember that line? That was popular for a while.
I guess this guy saw that movie and thought, hey, I'll use it for this completely unrelated film.
Yeah, he seems to... So if it had been less serious, he would have liked it even more? Is that what that guy's implying?
Guy pissed that all movies aren't comedies?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of room for comedy in this movie. You know.
Oh, okay. I beg to differ, man.
Oh, this is great. We never hear from this guy. Leonard fucking Maltin.
Oh,
we never hear
fuck
from
this
Leonard
guy.
Maltin.
That same Leonard Maltin that gave Usual Suspects a turkey, legendarily. 0 stars.
My sister-in-law has I saw on her bookshelf the other day when I was at the house, a giant, one of those, it's got like every movie in it. I'm like, oh my God, I started flipping through it just to see what movies he even rated. I'm like, oh, he put 3 O'Clock High in there. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, okay, that's a good one.
Leonard said, it's a treat, no. It's a treat, no, comma.
It's a treat, no.
A treat hyphen no, comma. A privilege to watch these superlative actors at work.
It's a treat, no. A privilege.
But it's a treat, no. But it's not a question mark. It's a treat, no.
It's a treat, no. A privilege. That's what he's saying. He's trying to write out how people speak, which is hard.
Peter Travers from Rolling Stone says, grace notes abound in A Late Quartet, a small shining gem of a movie that works its way into your heart with insinuating potency of music. Walken's performance is heartbreaking and a masterclass in the craft of acting. There you go. Oh, and before he died, the man himself, Roger Ebert. This is like one of his last few ones, right? He died in 2013. A Late Quartet does one of the most interesting things any film can do. It shows how skilled professionals work.
Are you okay, Eric? What is happening?
He's joking.
It's like your face is crumpling in on itself.
I was looking at the other screen. I missed it. I think he's having a choking fit.
He's just like he's like doing the Eric mugging thing, but it's like becoming so exaggerated that he's looking like Edward James Olmos.
Anxiety's out of control. I ran out of my Albuterol a couple days ago.
Oh, no.
Shit, I'm
Sorry, buddy.
I'm like, what is this? I'm like, are you distraught by what he's saying? Are you upset? Okay.
Yeah, maybe you're not a fan. Well, it was Roger Ebert's one of his last runs. So, is it enjoyable to watch professionals and how they work in a movie? Is that exciting or interesting to you guys?
Yeah, I love actors, so I love to watch them act.
I thought of you a lot in this movie.
I love movies about music. I love movies about musicians when the movie doesn't suck and it's just like them in the studio, like trying to find the song. They're few and far between, but I love those types of movies.
What, like the biopics where like Walk the Line comes together for the first time?
Yep.
You like that?
What if I played this?
Hear the drink. Okay. Well, it was also, that was kind of lampooned in Dewey Cox, Walk Hard, so I can't get that out of my head now.
Never be
it's
done
really
again.
hard. I know. It sucks because I love I do like that stuff too, Eric. But we're talking about classical musicians, a quartet that's been together. I thought of this. I wrote down, I think I called this Band Practice the Movie. Even though it's not a band, I know that. But I was wondering, but you picked this movie, Travis, not because it was like a personal favorite, right? You just hadn't seen it in a while?
I hadn't seen it in a while, and I liked it when I saw it, and I love Philip Seymour Hoffman. So I thought I'd bring it on, yeah.
Yeah, but I thought of you a lot in this movie for some reason because I was curious. I was probably projecting things because it's not like you watched this movie obsessively. It was about the music and how people came together as it's basically a 4-person marriage in a way, right? And that's what bands often are.
Yeah.
You got 4 people involved, and that's a problem here. And this thing goes to like the 10th degree, of course, because there's a daughter involved who I really didn't think that would happen. The daughter would end up, it did happen though.
Yeah.
And after a kind of a cheesy, I think kind of the script let me down when Daniel and Hoffman's character face off and he says, "Where's your passion?" He's acting brilliantly there, but then it's like, okay, then he goes and fucks his daughter.
Well, yeah, because he takes the advice too seriously. He's like, well, I do need to unleash my passion. So he goes and fucks his daughter, which is...
Oh, I get that.
Yeah, I mean, the Ivanir character, I think that Ivanir, who I'm pretty unfamiliar with, he's in Schindler's List and some other stuff, so I've seen him.
This is the guy. To me, he's always the good shepherd guy who jumps out the window on acid. That's how I know this guy. It's the only reason I know him.
Yeah. So, but I feel like he does really strong work in this.
He does.
I get from the start, we see his notations in the lyrics and the music sheet and all that stuff, and you see him like making his own bows and stuff. And this is a guy who's like absorbed, just a hermit for his craft. And it's almost amazing that he can work with other people. But I thought about the podcast quite a bit about Cinema 9 while I watched this. the difficulties that exist in trying to create art, if you will, create something together with multiple people, and the competing schedules, ideas, egos, all that kind of stuff. And just like, and that to me, like, that's what's really happening here is you're watching people trying to subsume their ego to create this thing together. And that is a tremendous challenge to do for one season, let alone 25, or to carry it on when one of them is going to have to leave. So yeah, I found it pretty interesting.
I didn't think about the podcast at all. That's brilliant. You're right. That's the first thing I should have thought of, but I was being too literal about music, I guess, and I wasn't relocating. Also, this is a film that starts with the end at the beginning. Not always my favorite thing. I mean, we don't see the full end, but it starts with them after they've had all those experiences. You don't know that yet because it's the beginning of the film. But as soon as it started, I was like, oh shit, that's right, I've seen this. And then I started to think of the things that were about to happen.
Man, there's a lot to unpack here. I mean, like,
please do.
I'm thinking like I hinted the fact that like this could have used, I don't know if it could have used, but that you could have had a different film here that's like straight pretty much Christopher Guest. I mean, like, this has all the ingredients of like a Christopher Guest movie, like silly characters, they've got a job to do, there's hijinks and like silly relationships.
Serious.
They got to come together at the end. But it's very like maudlin, almost soap opera-ish in these relationships. And yeah, it could have used some laughs for me. Like, this could have used the Alexander Payne touch for me. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, plagiarist.
A little bit. Well, yeah,
maybe. Allegedly,
yeah,
we'll see.
I think I may have gone too far.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
Read the tweets.
I'm a Payne fan. I'm scared. I'm a
the
little
pages
scared.
from that script are out, and it's
they're not as I looked at some of the,
I'm not
to get
so worried.
to wait real quick for any audience member that's confused. We're talking about the fact that today, as of this recording, the film The Holdovers has been accused of plagiarism, or Payne was accused of plagiarism by another screenwriter. But yeah, I've seen some of the side by sides of those two scripts, and those are some pretty familiar tropes that you could find in a lot of films that I don't know if that's plagiarism,
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And the accuser's name is David Hemmingson, just for the record.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, wait, no. Alexander Payne and Hemmingson are being accused of plagiarism. I'm an idiot.
Right, okay.
But he's the other
They'll be
writer,
fine.
too.
They'll be fine. But
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm okay with not having a lot of comedy. I'm just, I could have used a couple laughs because it's very heavy. Which I like, but there's story elements here that are weird for me. Like, I don't know where to start. Like, with each character, I've got like these small issues. I think aside
Give me
from,
some. Let's go. Come on.
Well, Mark Evanier, is this the guy's name? What's his name? Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, this affair is not happening. Like, he probably like changed her diapers. Like, he's known her since she was a baby. Like, he's like, I wasn't buying it. That doesn't.
That's
happen.
what I said when I said that to Travis. That's what I meant. I thought it was.
Unless you're a fucking asshole, that wouldn't happen.
Well,
he is
And
a
it
fucking
definitely
asshole.
wouldn't be sweet and romantic. Like,
It's clear that the dude is a fucking asshole who's completely up his own ass all the time, and even the three of them can hardly stand him, really, except for Peter, even though they've been working with him for years. He's an isolated and controlling dude that is unwilling and unyielding to see anyone else's side. He's not a good dude. I think he kind of seems like he's maybe on the spectrum of some kind, and maybe he's the only reason that he goes for her is because he pushes everyone else away completely as he tries to push her away, but she comes back anyway. And so it's just reciprocity, because, it's easy to fall in love with a young, beautiful woman in a way. And that whole thing where he's like throwing it in the face when he goes to see that scene you referenced earlier, when he goes to see Robert, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character. It's like, you threw away the fugue for a fuck. And then he goes and throws away the fugue for a fuck as well. I think that there's a lot about the character that I think is like him trying to resist, the chaos and he has no balance in himself. So I had no problem seeing it or accepting that, because to me, he struck me as someone who has been so far shifted out of balance his whole life that he's like the kind of person that, like, like someone who's like a hardcore Christian or something, and then they go to college and all of a sudden they start fucking everybody and getting fucked up all the time or something. You know what I mean? Like, when he goes off the edge, he's going to go pretty hard off the edge, I guess.
When you describe it like that, I see what you mean there, but I still am with Eric here that I felt that when he was pushed by Hoffman in that great scene. It just seemed too sudden of a change that he would do that, because he also is in competition with him. They're not. It's not like someone he goes to for advice. Like, oh wow, you say I need more passion, even though you've strongly advised that I need more passion. He still would be like, fuck that. You don't know what I need, because he had a hard enough time even speaking to him face to face. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was like, I can't speak to him. You must speak to him when he talks to Catherine Keener early on.
Right, but he also supposedly has like the sexual or romantic tension with Catherine Keener's character Juliet as well. So if he's kind of like wanting the wife and kind of hates the father by fucking the daughter, he kind of gets both at the same time in a weird way. He gets to fuck the father and the mother.
I get that
it's
too.
Not just him. I'm not even seeing like Alexandra going for him. It just didn't seem natural. Like, again, to her, he would be like her uncle or something. I wasn't buying it. And then like, yeah, man, did I ever sigh when Phil Hoffman's character like was heading towards the affair? I'm like, we're doing Phil Hoffman. We're gonna have a weak moment again, Phil. Like every single role, a weak moment. We got to have that affair. We got to have that grimy set.
That's him.
I don't know,
he
man.
plays a fallible character. That was kind of the thing he was pigeonholed into.
He does it, but like
quite a glorious sex scene too. It was like, oh.
The movie, like, it doesn't indict him enough for me. It's almost like we're supposed to feel sorry for him in this weak moment. And I'm like, this guy is slime. This guy's a fucking bitch. Absolutely. Why not? Why not?
I got a beef with Keener. I mean, he comes at her. He fucks up. He cheats on her. That's true.
But you're going to go... Okay.
No, when they have that argument when they're going to buy the violin there, that there's on auction, and he comes at her and says that you never... Was I convenient? Did you really love me?
Yeah.
And she's starting to come clean. She doesn't deny it. That's cold, man. I'm not saying no one's infallible here, obviously, but they're both characters that allowed two things to create one terrible mess.
Even the daughter, she says to her mother, "You treat him like a doormat. He's going to wonder what's outside the door." And I agree. Like the first time I watched this movie, I felt like the character of Robert, was a complete bag of shit, and there was no redeeming him. And he was driven by ego and fragile, and I hated him. And watching it this time, I felt that way for the first half. But I think to me, the thing that really works about this movie is that there is these layers of character development that get revealed for us. Particularly, for instance, the way we learned that Juliet, the character played by Catherine Keener, her father was out of the picture. Perhaps Peter Walken's character was her father. We don't really know. We find out later on that her mother was in a quartet with him. And then we find out that he basically raised her. And there's just this kind of stuff is happening where everything's just kind of slowly revealed and not kind of fed to us. So the movie starts and I'm thinking, yeah, this guy's a bag of shit. He's cheating on his wife, all this stuff. But by the end of the film, I don't think that he is entitled to cheat on his wife or that he's done nothing wrong. But I think that he's a fully realized character, and that Catherine Keener's character is as well. All of these characters to me strike me as very realistic and lifelike. I mean, I believe their history and I believe their fallibility.
They're not one note.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Pun intended.
No.
Again, this could have been a straight comedy. Philip Seymour Hoffman is second fiddle. He's pissed, and his ego is getting hurt pretty bad here.
Second fiddle.
Second fiddle.
Well, the movie starts with built-in resentments
in
that
like,
first practice scene, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, dude. But like
let it out.
The character Robert he's just so like there's nothing more unattractive than somebody's ego, especially at this age, expressing how much it angers them for someone to be even considered to be better at them than something in terms of art. Like it's pathetic. It's fucking pathetic.
Yeah.
And then you just sleep around, and then you I don't know, man.
It's human though.
Again, we're not supposed to root for this character. We're not supposed to be like on board with what he's doing. I do think we're supposed to have a measure of sympathy for him, but I do think we're supposed to judge him harshly. Particularly, there's this moment where it shows him, they're watching the video, the documentary of themselves much younger, and he's like watching it, like playing with his wedding ring kind of nervously as he watches it, and you see him like talking about his younger self on TV, talking about how you've got to, he's like, I thought it was all about me, but it wasn't, it's about this group. And he's like talking about all the things that he had lost sight of. And then it cuts to him now, and you could see his face, like he knows that he's wrong. He knows that he's let his ego get in the way of actually creating great art, and it's getting in between him and his relationships.
But yes, so let's clear the air on that, though. We get a very strong sense directly on camera of him being rebuffed by his wife in a tender moment. He makes her coffee. He goes out of his way to French press, and she's like, "Oh, come on!" Like, it's not an excuse, but to me, it's a very honest character motivation. Like, well, fuck, man, this is starting to suck.
He asked
obviously
her,
there was other resentments building prior to that.
Right. He asked her, do you love me? She was like, I don't know. I don't know if I ever did. I don't know if I still did. I'm sorry. I was always distant. And you can kind of sympathize with her because she's like, I'm sorry, I can't love you the way that you want me to love you.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, you can sympathize with him too, because you can tell he's a passionate, affectionate guy who's just not being met where he feels like he's getting enough.
So does it all? So in the end, is everybody's motivation? Was it, even if they weren't happy, it was about the quartet in the end? Is that is that how you guys see this? Like, because people are pissed, their lives suck in a way, but the quartet, it's great when it's together. I mean,
it's the only great thing in their lives.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could keep pushing on it, especially considering like he's only sorry because he gets caught. That would have continued. Don't give me all that bullshit about.
He was breaking up with her when she walks up. He was literally in the act of breaking up with he's telling her it's a one night thing when his wife walks up.
I believed he really regretted it. I believe that. He's like, because he really loves that woman. He just wished it was a pure night of jealousy and envy where it's so intense and you do something that you can't undo.
Yeah.
That does happen.
He'd been flirting with her and running with her.
Yeah,
and
right. That's true.
And like building up to this, right? So like he'd been thinking about doing it for a while and kind of was waiting for that moment where he was pissed off enough that he could justify it in his mind. Because again, he's a flawed dude and not a great dude.
He also felt they were conspiring behind his back too. Daniel and her talking, and that bothered him. But we need to talk. So, Imogen. Yeah. Remember this person? She was everywhere.
Yeah.
She was all over movies, and then she kind of went away after the roadies didn't work out, and some other things didn't go great.
Vivarium, and that was 2019 already.
Yeah, I looked at her IMDb while you guys were talking here, and there's a break, 2020 until she's back for 2023. So maybe she's coming back now.
Yeah, maybe she was doing school or just taking a break or something. Who knows? But yeah, I think that she's good in this. When her character first starts, it's like that unloading the scene, like they're unloading the truck. Her and Philip Seymour Hoffman. I'm like, why is she talking so slow? I'm like, I wasn't sure about her performance at that point in the film. But by the end of
she talks like that.
Yeah, you noticed too, right? But by the confrontation, the time the confrontation happens between her and Catherine Keener, where it's so obvious that what she's doing with Ivanhoe's character, Daniel, is just designed to get back at her mother because you couldn't have him, so I could. And this is really about giving you the fucking finger and trying to hurt you, which again, that justifies that makes it more realistic to me because she's being driven subconsciously again by her feelings against her mother, and also like she loves the fugue. She talks deeply about it, but she sees it as this thing that kind of ruined her life a little bit because it kept her away from her parents. So to subconsciously want to sabotage the fugue, even though by the end of it she leaves Daniel, and that moment when he recognizes and realizes that when Daniel's like getting dumped by her and he realizes that he finally made a risk and like it was not the right risk, and he just like the look on his face is so well played. He's just like, go away. And he goes back to like working on his violin and shit
because he wasn't going to break up with her, even though Peter said you have to end this.
No, he was in it.
The script bails him out.
Script bails him out, but even more critically and almost unforgivably, you get this great confrontation between her and Juliet, not resolved. Like there's not even like was there even another scene between the two after that?
No, it's not resolved. Okay. I'm not necessarily against that though.
She screamed in her face.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not something that could be resolved, right? You were an absent mother in a lot of ways. She's not angry at her father as much, but she is angry at them both, and there's no fixing that. And I don't think that could be resolved. So I'm okay with that myself. As far as film goes, I mean,
we get and that okay. So we got to talk about Walken too. So
yes,
I mean, Peter Travers said it was a masterclass of acting. This is not caricature Walken; it's chilled, honest Walken. I love that. So I got nothing but good things to say about his performance. And he's a guy who also is so impacted by his disease, which he should be. It's fucking Parkinson's. But that he loses sight of the fugue. He does. And that's why I really genuinely believe that he's kind of clueless when all that shit falls apart in that practice session. What's going on here?
Someone tell me.
Yeah.
Loved it. This is exactly what I've been pining for, and you brought it up too, Travis. Just an honest, dramatic performance from the great master Christopher Walken. He's sublime. Where were the awards in 2012? He's fucking so good in this, even when he's doing very little. He doesn't overdo the fucking Parkinson's. We don't need the big scenes about his degeneration or anything like that. He plays it simply. There's this positivity about the outcome. I loved it. It's pitch perfect. No pun intended. Beautiful, gorgeous performance. Brilliant.
It could be the best of his career. I honestly think. I mean, he's done a lot of great work, but I mean, he does so much showing and not telling with this role. You know, he has that great soliloquy where he's talking about the other cellist that he met that that he felt lied to him, but really he's like, I found the beauty in these small moments. So he has like these great deliveries, but the best part of that scene is the moment when he plays and you see him look at his hand and be like, oh my God, you can see it in his face. I'm back.
So good.
And then that moment later on in the film, oh God, when he's hallucinating his dead wife. And like he had kind of referenced earlier, kind of like he's like, when it starts to go, I'll figure something out or whatever he says. You're like, oh shit, he's gonna punch his ticket. Yep. And he goes up to the roof and like looks over the roof, and then you can just see his face just be like, well, not yet. Oh, it's God, incredible.
That final scene where he's like perched on his cello like a sick vulture.
Yes,
and you see it in his eyes, like
he's losing.
I'm gonna walk away with dignity. It's not gonna be sad when I have to stop this music. It's gonna be hopeful. It's so beautiful.
And each one of these performers worked with, a violinist, a viola player, and a cellist.
Boy,
and
here it is.
I think they did a really great job. I think they really sell that they're playing this stuff for most of it, and sometimes they actually are.
I was being hypercritical of this, focusing on it. I was looking for shots where we could see their faces, not their fingers, or someone else's fingers, and then goes back to them.
There is some of that going on. Yeah,
there is. I would say it's not bad. I don't have any reason to really get down on the movie for that. I think it's fine. It gets the job done. It's like, to me, if I see a sports movie where someone clearly never knew how to throw a baseball or something like that, or shoot a basketball. Right. It wasn't like that. It wasn't that bad at all.
I don't expect Daniel Craig or Tom Cruise to be an actual spy.
I don't either. But when it comes to physical things are different.
I think they're able to fudge it for the movie, though. I think they do it. I mean, like you just referenced that moment towards the end where Walken's finger movements on that cello seem to be exactly what's going on with the music.
It kind of blew me away. You're right.
Yeah, really did.
Yeah.
Don't forget, Wallace Shawn pops in this movie real quick. A little bit of Wallace Shawn. Always good to see Wallace Shawn in high New York society. Good for
My
you,
dinner
buddy.
with Walken. Yep.
My dinner with Walken. That's my cello player. You can't have that.
I think that a note that I made to myself here, going back to Robert's ego and his tension with Daniel, he's like, I can't be a part of something where I'm not respected. But that moment where Daniel tells Alex that he thinks that Robert makes the whole fugue because he's a good second fiddle, that he's second violinist. He's like, he is actually what makes the fugue the best part, and I believe him. So it's like this weird irony of the fact that like some of their competition is the fact that Daniel maybe is even a little bit jealous of Robert's talent and vice versa as well, and the fact that like Robert's trying to like fight for respect from someone who already greatly respects him.
Well, you led us here,
right? Robert
gives Daniel shit for that. You got to be the number one dog. You led us here. And meanwhile, Catherine Keener's character she's so sentimental to Peter.
Who raised her, and that explains a lot once we learn that.
Yeah, that does make more sense in that way, and I appreciate that. But he also rebuffs her in a way like, hey, you got to take care of your own shit. I appreciate that. I know you love me and you'll be there for me. And that's a good job on Walken's part of like, hey, man, I'm tender and you can lean your head on my shoulder, but you got to clean up your own house.
Daddy
being
Walken. Courageous.
What does he says that line about like being courageous or having resolve means like you have to. I can't remember exactly how he said that now. I'm going to screw it up, but it was a good line about being able to see things through when all you want to do is help someone, but you need to kind of deal with your own stuff in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Catherine Keener is fantastic. Like she's like the glue here. And I think she does a great job selling those moments, especially in like the mockumentary stuff. Which at first I was like, "We're doing this. This is straight Christopher Guest," but it works. I mean, like with a different actress in that, yeah, it might seem a little artificial, but I think she sells that. And I ended up really liking all that stuff.
the tone is too serious. I never got like those Chris. I know I've loved his movies, but I never got the Christopher Guest vibe because
this
movie
does.
fucking
Christopher
flattens
Guest
you with
plays
reality.
it. Christopher Guest plays
He
those
does.
moments seriously, but you laugh because like you're in on the joke. But like you're doing the
Right.
same thing here, playing it pure serious.
Catherine Keener has been typecast in so many movies where she played them well as the bitter, like mean wife who's cold and cruel. She's played that character over and over again, and here she is playing a wife who is kind of distant and a little bit cold, but she plays it with this tremendous warmth, like the affection that she has for Peter. The way that she's in a lot of ways she's the most blameless out of all of them, I think. Even though they all kind of do their own thing to kind of put the fugue at jeopardy, she, I think, is the one that's like most stays true to herself through it. Well, her and Peter to a degree. It's mostly Daniel.
But you can't imagine without. She's like, Peter has to stay on. He can do this. She's the most adamant about him continuing to play more than he is.
Right, trying to squeeze one more season out of
Yeah.
him. Like it's really what's gonna happen after that. But I think that she wants to quit without him. And I love and I don't know that I realized exactly the trick that Peter pulled on him the first time I watched the movie, that he had every intention, like, I'm gonna put you in this situation where I'm gonna bring Nina out on stage. So you're not gonna approve and say, yes, okay, we're bringing her in. I am going to bring her in for you and put you in this scenario where you have to play with her. And you can see them like kind of be like, okay. And the reconciliation that takes place or is suggested between Robert and Juliet when he goes and brings her the little nap, the tissues of Viper tears, and Daniel and Peter shake hands. And so the father, the mentor and the student are, on a good level again. There's a lot done in those moments in the final end of the movie they wrap everything up, even as it's pretty subtle. It's it's not like a dramatic tear, kind of confrontation.
Yeah.
Everybody's wrapped up except Alexandra, which I still have an issue with. But yeah, that moment at the end, even when they close their folders and you see Violent 2 on Roberts, and he kind of gives it a look and like he's okay with it. That's another example of just like something meaningful happened without spoon feeding you with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's when they close the books, I'm like, yes, they're gonna move forward now. That they're not just gonna. This isn't just for the performance. This is the fugue is staying together,
and it's with zest. Like I like that speech he talks about when it sucks that a member leaves, but you get a fresh energy when there's this renaissance and this rejuvenation with a new member, and you sense that at the end.
Yeah,
Nina,
who actually was playing cello.
cello. She's like.
She was the only real cello player in the movie. That all the cello that you heard played in the film was actually her, or at least
Okay.
Yeah, she was the actual
that's
part of the quartet, the Breton Quartet, I think it was called. I don't know, but I could tell you, A Late Quartet is a reference to Beethoven, because they're all playing Beethoven's 131, which is the theme of the movie in a lot of ways, right? The whole idea of this piece is that you got to play it nonstop and go out of tune together, and if you can't keep up together, if you're out of tune and not in sync, then everything falls apart. And that's the metaphor for the film. So it's not subtle, but it works very well for what they're doing. And and I guess apparently I didn't know this until looking it up today, but the final works that Beethoven released were called his late quartets. So that's
his father made him get up in the middle of the night and play for his drunken asshole friends. Oh God, what a nightmare. Also, oh shit, I just lost it. You were just giving me the point. Well, either way, A Late Quartet is a wonderful film, and unless there's nothing else, could we wrap it up? I'm so sorry, but
no, I think we said everything we need to say.
Is there anything else we didn't say?
No.
We said it all.
Well, I brought it
Travis brought
Yep, I brought it to the show, and it definitely holds up for me. In fact, I preferred this viewing even more than I did the first time. I liked it even better this time. I got more out of it. Maybe I'm a little bit older and have some more perspective on it or something, but I think it's a lovely depiction of the challenges and sacrifices that are made to build something. This is their 25th year. They've built something for their whole life together, their whole adult lives together. And that's always going to be a precarious thing that has to be tended to repeatedly, whether it's a band or a friendship or democracy itself, whatever. It takes conscientious effort and being in sync together. So I think there's a really great message in this movie, and it is superbly acted. And I would love to see more from this writer director. It definitely holds up for me.
Yeah, Michael, like, I'm glad Travis brought this on, because I put it on like in the evening at the perfect time, because like it's a talky chamber piece, for like lack of a better word, of a film, and it's you know, it's not highbrow, but it's a mature film, which I really appreciated about it. I ended up liking it a lot. I've got my issues with some of the script stuff that could have been tinkered here and there, but I thought everything melded together really well. Like I really like this ensemble. Everybody's looking at each other, and you can tell what everyone's thinking. That's impossible to do half the time in a movie, to read everybody's emotions when they're just looking around at each other. The subtext here, it bubbles over in a positive way, even though there's like some symbolism hitting you over the head. It's kind of like, yeah, I guess that's like the point. Like, it's like, who cares? But I wanted to watch it again when it was over. It's just got this mood that is very cozy to it. And it's got a lot to say about how egos can fucking ruin anything creative, and how hard it is to choke them down. People are people, man. And it is fucking hard, especially when you worked your life at something and you're threatened to be inferior. I mean, that's a hard pill to swallow. Really hard. We got a great film here, and I want to see what else this guy is cooking up. I missed the Phil. It was like the lost Phil Hoffman movie for me, man. It's like this hidden gem that I'd never seen. So if you're going back to appreciate this legend, dig this one out, because it's a fantastic film in the long run. Holds up, man. Loved it.
Yeah, this movie's very hoity-toity because it's about classical musicians, you know, so immediately it's going to put a lot of people off. It's like, who gives a fuck about these people and their fucking... You know, there's so much going on here that is well acted, though, and the script kind of sucks, I think. It's average. You know, I think the script forces some issues because it has to, but this guy's not like a regular pro, the director, either. He also seemed to provide a world of context that seemed legitimate and honest, and understanding that classical musicians have this life and they choose this life and they make sacrifices just like a lot of other professions have to. But this one is, you know, on the road 7 months of the year. You know, that's why Alexandra, the daughter, was so upset. It was awful. And that is pretty shitty. I mean, you're missing out on some key moments for sure. And even if you dilute yourself into thinking that you haven't as the parents, it's bullshit. So, but it's about making the best version of what they wanted to do. All the actors are good. I just wasn't that entertained. I was impressed in moments by the acting, but I wasn't entertained enough. But it certainly was thought provoking. So I guess it holds up. Yeah.
Huh. That's funny because I mean, for me, it was like the rare kind of movie where I felt pretty gripped throughout. Like I wasn't taking my phone out and stuff. I was just kind of engaged the whole time. But I
wasn't as gripped, but it was powerful at times. So I don't dismiss that. So
all right.
It holds up. Hey, it holds up. Is that better?
It holds up.
Voice?
Yeah, you feel how you feel, and I you know, whatever, however you communicate that.
How dare you? How dare my? How dare you? All right, next week we got Eric picking, and what are we going to be doing, Mr. B?
We're going back to reinvestigate a movie that kind of got lost in 99, because 99 is the year of all years. Nothing will ever top it. You've heard it all. This one doesn't get talked about as much as it maybe should here in 2024, especially with all the stuff it's got going on. We've got a Best Actress winner this year. And a great indie. So, I mean, we're not going to be having laughs. Usually this is where I bring on the action movie to kind of get things back into a fun ground. But no, we haven't done a deep dive on a nice, powerful indie drama in a while.
We just
Boys Don't Cry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, never saw it.
Really? It was a big deal.
Never
in
did.
99.
I remember the big deal. I
heard a goddamn
I
thing
remember
about
the Hillary Swank. She's a boy. Yeah, that's all I know.
Probably like one of the earlier trans films. Cool. All right.
All right.
Boys Don't
Let's
Cry.
do it. Boys Don't Cry. Good choice, Eric. All right. Thanks, guys. I got to go to another show. So we thank you for watching and listening. As always, cinemanightpod@gmail.com. For Eric and Travis, I'm Michael. We say bye-bye.
There's no quotes from this
Passion!
movie.
Passion!